So we got the infamous brother Kevin Muhammad.
Peace, peace.
Peace, brother. I appreciate you coming back, man.
Thank you for having me, my brother.
Yeah, man. You know, you're literally like family to the show. You know what I'm saying? To move the target. And you're hosting right here the Facts Initiative. I wanted to know from you, because you're so much into the education and the homeschooling. Talk a little bit about the importance of us, parents, focusing on informal education versus the formal education.
Well, you know, we always talk about the system this, the system that, and we cannot make changes within the same system. So we have to create our own. And I think people, you know, in the community think, oh, their kids won't be educated. DCF will get me. I'll be a negligent parent. But we have information that's going to help you help your children. The only thing that we're asking is, do you desire to homeschool? Do you desire to take your children out of the system? And we'll give them all that they need and then some. You know, if they threaten you with, well, you're going to follow the Connecticut state standards, we'll give them that and then some. Nobody of great leadership has ever come out of the system based on just what the system gives them. We have to produce leaders, we have to produce entrepreneurs, we have to produce movement. In order for us to do that, we have to give our children a certain type of education. So this is something that we're teaching. We're actually doing it out in Bridgeport. Parents are entrusting us with their children and seeing results in their children's esteem, the belief in themselves, and just leadership value, leadership characteristics that they get naturally from people who love them, who are guiding them, who are teaching them. And I wish we could see this every day, but we can continue a failing system, or we can produce our own system of giants.
How, you know, as far as entrepreneurialism, you know, how young do you think parents should be teaching entrepreneurialism to their kids?
I think as soon as their children are able to count. I'll give you an example. There's a young brother who was with us. He went back to his high school, but he was with us for a small amount of time. And his mother said ever since she was 4 or 5, he would take goods out of their home and sell them. And she wondered how was he able to do this? He was naturally gifted entrepreneur. And everybody that I talked to about this brother knew he was selling lemonade. The other day there was a snowstorm, and he got a few of his community brothers together, and they went out. He said, I made a couple $100 just shoveling snow. He just knows how to be an entrepreneur. But his mother also owns a store that sells fragrances in Bridgeport. And so in him is entrepreneurship, but it's not supported. So with us, he was able to design a butter that was for the skin and the hair in that little bit of time that he was with us. We had him do a vision board. We spent time feeding him. And here's a young man now that they said reads below level, does math below level, however, can actually produce a product that can work, and we want to market it. So those are the types of things that we want to promote, and we utilize this to help him study more, to do the things that he wanted to do, but nobody was catering to the real him. Yeah. And what we miss in education is they talk at our children, but education should be from the inside out. It should be something that connects to you, helps you find who you are, and from then you find out what you're supposed to do in life. And that's not being done on a daily basis.
So you spoke about, this being a young black boy, and really working with him from the inside out.
Right.
And we talk a lot about social emotional learning and the difference. We'll talk a little bit about the difference of how we educate social emotional learning to black boys as opposed to women or just white people, white children.
Right. So they have this buzzword, SEL, social emotional learning. And it basically is supposed to tie children into their emotions, to help them process their emotions, to deal with trauma, to help them clear the way so that they can focus in school. What they don't realize is that for our young boys, their emotions take longer to process. And some of the ways that they process emotions are not all bad. With boys, we're a little different. women are nurturing. They're tied to their children. And with men, the masculine brain, actually at certain point of the woman's pregnancy, that part of the brain splits, and then other hormonal things are take place in the body, like testosterone. So men's brains are more compartmentalized, where we could sometimes tuck away our pain, tuck away those things that we suffer from, where a woman's brain is less compartmentalized. There's a difference. And so education should take into account the differences in how black boys learn, their hormones, their brains. And so it takes us longer to process the emotions. However, the way that we protect ourselves is to tuck those emotions away, and so that we can go out and conquer the world. So if we understand that, then we'll give room for boys and their masculinity to thrive, while helping them to deal with their pain and their trauma, which is tucked away, and to become educated at the same time. And people don't want to take into account these innate differences, but there's a reason why schools have a harder time with black boys. There's a reason why they're suspended more than any other group, or expelled. They haven't tapped into them. They're losing them. Either they're losing them through behavior, or they're losing them through the lack of interest. But we want to take hold of our black boys because we believe that we can connect to them and we understand the way they work. One, we're black men ourselves. So that's something that we want to actually tie into. The beauty is the differences between male and female is actually a beautiful thing. It's something that should be admired, but it should be taken into account while we're educating children.
So we're here at the Facts Initiative, so it's all about really being able to talk about generational wealth and circulating the black dollar. The one word that hasn't been talked about a lot here, and I'm like, it is at the core of all of this, along with other things, but this word is at the core. Discipline.
Right.
Why do you think we overlook discipline, and do you think discipline has a bad rap? The word discipline.
Well, I was just listening to, there's a program by a gentleman. He has a program called Impact Theory. It's millions of viewers.
Yeah.
The guy that is the guest, the guy that's a guest is a very famous neuroscientist. They used to think that the brain was not plastic, that after the certain age that our ways and the things that we did was actually concretized. Yeah. The criminal justice system handled people that way, saying after a certain age, people should be put away for life. They were recluses because they can't change. Yeah. But now they found out there are parts of the brain that are actually elastic. They're elasticized, meaning they're malleable, that they can change. And education has taken that into existence. They're what is called neurons. And these neurons could be rebuilt, they could be remade, and along with them, new habits. So scientists...
Which I think also produces meditation, right?
Exactly. Yeah. And so there's a system of things. One is technology got our brains. We don't have technology. So our youth are actually controlled by technology. So there has to be a disallowance of technology. There has to be a setting up of things like, I teach mindfulness and meditation and affirmations and behavior. And so, some scientists said it takes 21 days to change old habits and make new ones. The problem is we go back to those old habits again. And for the brain to change, then there has to be a progression. Yeah. So goals have to be there. Once we have changed this behavior, this is a goal. We stay here. What's our next goal? Right. And so people need coaching, people need training, and they need a change of environment. That's why homeschool is so effective. We decided to we used to go into homes to tutor, and then I noticed that when we go into homes and tutor, children are automatic pilot. They do the same things, but when you take them out of that environment and put them somewhere else, the environment itself sometimes changes their actions. And this is why discipline is, if you want to get out and work out. People say, "Oh, work out at home." No, get out, go to the gym, and at the gym, have somebody that's going to push you and do something different. Right. Come out of your comfort zone. Right. Same thing with education. What I noticed that our children need a lot of coaching. And what I primarily do is get into their heads and set goals. So when children come in, we set an academic goal and a social goal. And the parents will say, well, my son doesn't open up. He doesn't speak. So we practice public speaking, recitations, affirmations. Children must speak out and be heard and change the way that they do things. Every now and then we change for a few days our lunchtime. We have meditation in the morning, because when the brain is relaxed, the conscious mind is relaxed, the subconscious mind is exposed. And it's the subconscious mind that's autopilot. That's where habits are.
And it's taking everything.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
And so this is education. Some of these big people that you read about, Anthony Robbins, this is what they do for a living. Actually change people's lives. And I think that's something that we're going to have to practice. And you have talked about doing this with black men in our community, just changing our mindset, because we're functioning unconsciously on autopilot. Right. So those are the things that I think. The social emotional learning is a given, but I think men naturally take more time to process the emotions because of the way our brains are constructed. And so we need a environment that takes that into account. And I don't think the school gives us time. I think once we mess up, we're either suspended or expelled. We're not really given that space.
You just talk real quick about or let people know how to contact you from MUD for your services. And I think Ren's going to have you say one more thing before we out.
Right. So you can contact me. My website will be updated very, very soon. Is muck.mud. muck.info. That's muckmudd, one word, .info, muckmud.info. We also have a Facebook page, Muckmud LLC. And I also can be reached at this number. That's 203-440-5170. That's 203-440-5170. And through email at muck.mudd@yahoo.com. That's muck.mudd@yahoo.com.
Thank you so much, brother. I really appreciate it.
Yes, sir. And if you could say your name for us one more time and say Moving Target's the only move.
My name is Kevin Muhammad, and Moving Target is the only move.